Welcome back to the show. There's no telling where we'll go. So come and share a laugh on the Imp and Skizz podcast.
That opener before the song played, before Richard's jingle, was you setting up our studio here.
Yeah. I'm out of breath, bro.
You did it fast.
You saw how fast I was moving?
It was
that was a new record in setup time, I'll tell you that.
It was quick.
I feel like sped up the video or something.
You were cooking. But it was a good test. So just for reference here, so I'm going to get right into it, what we're talking about, right? We have had a lot of fun on this podcast talking about just the great lives that we get to have. And we've also talked about some of the not darker, but some of the other side that people don't typically see is that sometimes
it's always two sides to every coin.
100%,
right?
100%, right? And we thought it'd be fun to have a podcast to peel the curtain back even a little bit more and just talk about what this world is like in regards to the fact that what our lovely audience gets to see is about 2% of the effort that goes into what this is. And so here we are, and what they end up seeing on the cameras is you behind that mic, me behind this mic, both of us behind our mics, and that's about it. But they don't see all the other stuff. Not only do they not see all the other stuff, they don't see the energy that goes into placing all the other stuff, configuring all the other stuff, honing it in, all that stuff. So you put together that little time lapse, which was awesome because it does a good job illustrating that. And then I'm going to take all the footage home and I'm going to get after the edit and the whole thing. There's so much more to this world of content creation, so much more from a mental standpoint, from a stamina standpoint, from a burnout standpoint, from a creative block standpoint, from technical issues that we're not complaining, but we realize there's something actually interesting in regards to how much goes into doing this job.
Yeah. I definitely believe that and this is a good thing, for the most part, people don't know that much happens, behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I think that's good, and same can be said for, any creation. I think, Hollywood films, obviously, I think people by now are aware that a lot go into making those productions happen. And what we're doing obviously is not as big of a scale as like a Hollywood film,
right?
But there's still a lot more that goes into it. I remember getting comments about my computer, when I would be like, oh, I have this computer with this mega processor, mega graphics card. And people would be like, why do you need that? You play Minecraft. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, I do. I play Minecraft. Don't need the computer for that.
Yeah.
It's everything else.
Yeah.
The streaming, the recording, the editing, all that. It needs horsepower. And that's when it clicked. I'm like, I don't think people realize that that doesn't just magically go from here. I'm playing a game and you're seeing it.
Yeah.
It doesn't just magically happen. There's so many things in between that make that happen. And so there's a lot more to it. I thought it would be fun to, like you said, peel back the curtain and talk about it. And me setting up was just part of the process. Obviously by now I've gotten pretty decent at setting it up. But when we first started, didn't know what we were doing. So there was a lot of trial and error. We obviously quality had to improve over time as we learned new things. I hope we're not orange anymore. I know we bring that up all the time, but that was so embarrassing. And now I have it kind of down. I did that whole setup and I think I clocked it in just over 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
So arguably I have the better role now on our job split because Skizz, if you guys don't know, Skizz does all the editing for the podcast and I do all the tech setup stuff. And now I've gotten my part down to 20 minutes. Yeah. Well, there's just tear down too.
So another 20.
So another 20 of tearing down. And I have to store the stuff. I don't know if that counts for anything. Anyway, but yeah, that's kind of how we have it split up. And there's a lot to it. The another peel back the curtain thing is we lost a week. A while back. That
is the stuff that is there's another level of unseen dynamic, right? So for example, when you watch a movie, right? When we had Mumbo on the show, we talked about just because he knows about cinema. He's obviously deeply rooted in it. You watch a movie, and if you ever just stick around and watch the credits, it's mind blowing. Yeah. It's mind blowing. Yeah. It's what is happening. There was, people. There were 10 people in this movie. How are there 500 people in the credits? It's because of how much, it takes. But here's the deal. You get a little bit of visibility into how many people it takes to pull off this movie. But what the credits don't tell you is what each one of those people were going through at that time in their lives. You have no idea. You know what I mean? What if like for all, we don't know, but what if what if makeup, for example, I'm just like literally grabbing one thing, maybe the head of makeup, which is like the makeup, I'm assuming it's a team of people, which means they're going to have some sort of manager or head of makeup or whatever. What if that person was, I don't know, going through a divorce or something at the same exact time that there was a major, I'm just putting it out there. You don't see that dynamic, right?
Yeah.
And so here is a dynamic that, now they just got a visual into regards to what it took for you to set this room up. And then I'm going to take it home. I'm going to edit it. But what they don't know is that, like you just said, our backs have been up against a wall for weeks now, meaning we like to be minimum of 1 week ahead.
Yeah.
Which typically we'd have like a guest on. They're like, when's this coming out? And we're like, it'll be like 2 weeks from Friday or whatever. They're like, what?
Yeah.
Because we have to plan. We have been for several weeks now. We filmed today, which is a Thursday. This video right now comes out tomorrow.
Assuming everything goes right.
Assuming everything goes right.
Assuming I actually hit record on the stuff.
Yeah, which he checks like chronically
that's about the
before we.
Fifth time I'm a little worried about that. Okay, I think we're.
Want to get up and check it?
We're good. I see red.
It's
as
fun.
long as I see a red dot, I think we're. Crap.
You want to check it?
I have problems.
Okay, you can check it.
Have we? We've talked about this. Have we?
Well, I don't know if
about my neurotic behavior when it comes to this part.
Well, I don't know if we have, but let's discuss it. We have 3 cameras. We've got one. We've got the one looking at Impulse, and then we have the one here that we're sharing.
Think there's one looking at me.
Well,
I'm getting
coming in. You want to come in?
Coming in.
He's checking it.
Okay. All right. We're good.
So before we start going, and not to mention the audio is a completely different system called the Rodecaster that's behind the camera right now. And once I bring the cards over, because I take the cards home to do my thing, and then we put the cards in the cameras, we put the card in the Rodecaster, we fire them all up, we do the whole thing in case you guys don't know. And once everything's running, then I bring out the clapper. This is how I line everything up with everything.
Wait, can you give a close up of what's written on that?
I think we've pointed out before. This is when we did the Ghost podcast.
That was like our 3rd podcast
Yeah.
or something. No, it was probably like our 6th or 7th.
I
don't know.
Write on it, and I made a picture of a ghost, which that's a good ghost. Look how unhappy he is.
It looks like a Pac-Man ghost in a way.
Oh, it does.
I think it needed more tentacles. More tentacles. Why did the ghosts have tentacles? They did. They had like little danglies.
That's what it's like when someone like a ghost, like the sheet. It's a sheet, like a bed sheet.
Oh yeah, the sheet where it curves at the bottom. Yeah, they kind of look like tentacles.
So that's what today's podcast is about Pac-Man.
Pac-Man and who designed the tentacles on
we go through all that, and he'll check them all. He'll sit down, he'll get up and check them all again, and then he'll sit down. And then he'll get up and he'll check them all again.
Sometimes I'll check them in the middle of the podcast. Apparently.
Well, apparently today that's what you're doing. It's a neurotic behavior, but because
I know if I forgot to hit record or I thought I hit record and it double clicked or something weird, that we just were screwed.
Yep.
Like we don't have a podcast that week, and we've been so good, except when we're obviously on a break, which we planned and announced. We've been so good of hitting every single Friday. I don't want to be the reason we screw that up one of these times.
It's going to happen, dude. We're going to miss a Friday. It's going to happen. And somehow it hasn't happened. I don't understand it. Somehow we've gotten quite lucky. And we've also been able to exercise our ability to pivot and improvise on the fly. One of us gets sick, then the other one makes the best of. Like it's happened before, but we are getting closer and closer because our backs have been up against the wall, and it's become more and more difficult to the point to where now our backs being up against the wall is a problem. This is something the audience is never going to see. It got compounded with another problem, which is where my ISP, my internet service provider, has been falling apart. And I'm going to be switching providers as soon as I can here. But my upload is as bad as it gets, right?
Yeah.
So last week, for example.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my
I forgot about
gracious.
last week.
Yeah. Last week, I brought everything home. I edited everything, and I went to upload. And usually it takes these podcasts are about an hour long. It typically would take me 15 to 20 minutes to upload it. And I set it, and it was charted to take a little over 8 hours because and this is, I mean, we're not going to go.
And which you would have started that upload probably at like 5 o'clock at night or something like that.
And it wouldn't have been a problem.
Thursday night, the night before it goes out.
It wouldn't, exactly. Now, if we didn't have our backs up against the wall, I would have just let it ride. But I'm like, no, I can't wait 8 hours because I'm going to be asleep by the time that this is, and I can't wake up to see that there was a problem because now we're cooked. So, and you weren't even home, and I just came over, went in your office, and uploaded it in like 7 minutes, and it made me hate you. But I can't wait to be on Fiverr, which it's coming. But that's what I'm saying, right? That's some of those dynamics that people aren't going to see. They're just not going to see them. Yeah. And so it's kind of fun to peel back the curtain and talk about it a little bit because it is a testament. I worked at Intel for 20 years, and I still talk to plenty of people there, and they're very happy for me in the life I have. And they're like, is this the easiest job you've ever had? I'm like, it's literally the hardest I've ever worked in my life. Now, I'm grateful because I love it, but it's literally the hardest I've ever worked in my entire life, ever. Constant days, minimum 12 hours, minimum several days, and weekend time and all that stuff. So nobody sees that stuff, but let's talk about the mental aspect of it. Let's just stick mental. Let's get technical later.
Mental aspect of it. I mean, I can start by like, I'm tired right now because I was wide awake at 4 a.m. Just woke up and immediately started thinking about what I'm doing today. It's going to be a busy day. I got to get, my daughter to school early because my wife's taking, a family to the airport. So I got to take care of that part, the family part. But typically I'm setting up the podcast at that time. So I'm already a little stressed.
At 4 a.m.?
Well, no, at my normal time. If I was to wake up at my normal time and not have anything else to do, like I usually do on Thursdays, I would come in and start setting up the podcast at like 6 a.m. is typically when I do it, right? But today I had to take care of my daughter. And so I was a little stressed, like, this is throwing off my Thursday routine. Now I have less time to set up the podcast, And so I was up thinking about that, so I was already thinking about the production part, like getting that done. But then I start having the creative thoughts too. I was like, that's when I came up with the idea that I should time lapse it. Oh, my back's already against the wall. I'm squashed on time. Let me add another camera to the mix to record myself. I can't help myself. Anyway, so I had that going on. This happens all the time when I get obsessed about things where if I wake up, my brain is so obsessed that it immediately goes to that and I can't go back to sleep. And so it happens every time we kick off a new hermit craft season. I won't sleep well for months, at least the first couple months of a season, because if I, for whatever reason, wake up at like 4 a.m., 3 a.m., whatever, my brain just immediately starts going to the work, to the job. I just cannot disconnect. And it's because I'm obsessed. I'm having a good time. That's a good thing, and I'm so into it that I don't want to stop thinking about it. And so I lose sleep over it, and so, it happens. But then I'm a tired guy, right? Who is going to stream for 6 hours, and now I need to not be so tired because I need to put on an entertaining stream. But I'm like trying to hide that. I'm kind of at odds with myself, I had an issue on Monday. We recorded the life series and my brain wasn't braining because I'm in this mode again where I'm waking up at 4 a.m. Yeah. So like I was like, so then my quality of my content's not as good. Like my delivery of stuff, my being, thinking during improv, is struggling because I'm tired. Yeah. So it all kind of impacts itself in a way.
So what do you think? Because we are a ways away from starting another Hermitcraft season. So that was your
right now. I think it's Metro Mayhem. I think that I'm just so like the way Metro Mayhem's gone. I'm so into how everybody's been taking to it. I want to make sure it goes off without a hitch. So I'm worried about it running out of stock of stuff in the middle of the night. And ruining Jevin's attempt at his sub 10 run because the wind charges ran out or the pizza ran out and he can't eat. Now he dies of starvation in the middle of a run that was going to be his best run ever. And it's my fault. You know what I mean? Like I think about that stuff, and so then I can't let go, I'm awake. And there's been times where I'm in here at 5 a.m. restocking Metro Mayhem, because I'm worried about it.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. For the record, Metro Mayhem is just killing it. It's so much fun.
Thanks.
It's so
making
much
it worse.
Fun.
It can't have any issues.
Literally
by the time this comes out, we're like a few hours away from season 1 being done. So if we make it to that point and there was no issues, I'll be happy.
From season 1 of season 1 Metro Mayhem.
Metro Mayhem season 1, yeah.
So I'll talk to you. It doesn't belong in this podcast. I want to know what changes you're going to make in this, because I'm not on. I don't want to talk about it. I did well, dude.
People have to wait and see. I'll have a whole video coming out soon about what changes I'm making.
I really enjoy it, and I want to. But then it just got to a point where people doing so well, I'm like, I don't even understand how it's possible. Like I did a run. I'm like, I feel like that was really quick. How are these people like that much quicker? It's whatever. Anyways, you did a great job. So that is what's keeping you up now. Okay, that's not a terrible thing, but for me, it is like. If I wake up if I wake up from a creative standpoint, sometimes it's because I have a great idea, but more often or not, it's when I have no ideas. And that's what wakes me up and keeps me up.
Yeah.
And that's like literally when I have no ideas, that's when I'm just like, we can talk all day long about how we have to improvise in this job and how we have to pivot when things go wrong or whatever. But at the end of the day, if you show up and you brought nothing to the party, you're like, what am I doing here? And sometimes it feels that way, and it's just so crazy. Like, I'm just like, it's so crazy to not know what to do. And I am so glad when I'm able to release a video and it's well received. I really, really like that. But at the beginning of almost every single video, I'm just like, I have no idea what I'm going to do. And I've talked about this on the podcast too. It's the same process. I have no idea what I'm going to do. Oh, you know what? I think I do have an idea. And then I'll go do what that idea is. And then I go to edit and I'm like, this was terrible. What am I going to edit? This is nonsense. And I get done with the edit and I'm like, no, I'm actually pretty good at this. It's the weirdest roller coaster over and over and over again, dude.
Yeah.
And that's, for me, that's the struggle, is the constant, overwhelming, crippling self-doubt of this field, which is making no sense to me, because almost every time I'm done editing a video and it's ready to go, I'm like, that was good. That was good. That was a good video. I did it. And I think it's because I'm able to salvage a lot of it in editing when it comes down to it. I think I'm a good editor, and I think I'm able to salvage a lot of it there. But the making of it is where I'm just crippled in self-doubt the entire time. I have to get to editing. If I can get to editing, then maybe I can salvage it.
It's scary being in a position to where if we don't have creative thoughts, we have a mental roadblock, we can't produce.
Right.
And that's our job.
Yeah.
And so then that stress of that pressure of having to come up with something can be crippling. Like, it can actually make it worse.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because now you're sitting here thinking, I'm not a person that can be like, okay, I'm going to take 10 minutes and I'm not going to be at my computer. I'm going to sit in a chair over there staring at the wall, and I'm going to come up with a good idea. I'm going to close my eyes and here we go. Good idea. 3, 2, 1, go. It doesn't work that way. I can't force myself to just come up with an idea. It usually comes for me, I know the cliche of the shower thoughts kind of thing, but it's those times. It's when I wake up at 4 a.m. and I'm half asleep still. And typically I feel like those ideas are going to be really bad because it's 4 a.m. or whatever, and I'm half asleep. So obviously my brain's thinking stupid stuff. That's where I came up with the idea to make that Patreon commercial of mine where I was like Garth from Wayne's World.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And pretending I didn't have friends to play Minecraft with. And then I woke up and I think, I sent you a message. I'm like, this is probably a stupid idea or whatever.
You actually asked me, is this stupid?
Is this stupid? Yeah. And so I had to check myself but that's the ideas come at the weirdest times for me.
Yeah.
But the other problem I have is I don't come up with a lot of good ideas because I'm constantly going. My plate is so full that I'm going. Okay, now I got to record this. Now I got to record that. Now I got to do this. There is no time in there to let my brain wander and just be and just go where it's going to go, And that's where I feel like that part, I could probably improve my routine, my process, my schedule, whatever you want to call it, to allow that time. But it just feels like the pressure of constantly producing and being on the creator treadmill, air quotes, is got me hook, in sinker. You know what I mean? Like I can't get off the treadmill. Otherwise things could go bad. You know, we can get into that because that's a whole nother thing.
That's a fear aspect that exists. Yeah.
So it's tough, you know, to rely on, come on, brain, be creative. Like, and it just might not be my week to be creative, you know? And then what? Do you just produce whatever? Or do you just say, not creative, so I guess no video this week, you know?
Yeah, I know. It's a good question because you don't, for me, my method is I don't know what it is. I try to think of whatever, let's just stick with Hermitcraft, for example, right? I just try to think of whatever it is. I'm just going to think of something no matter how big or small it is. And I'm going to, if it's small, I'm going to make a big deal out of it somehow. I'll find a way to make a big deal out of it. So for example, I wanted to do well at one of the games on the server, or whatever. So it wasn't just about that. I wanted to get a trophy. Well, if I'm going to get a trophy, I better build a trophy room. You know what I mean? So if I'm going to build a trophy room, I have to use certain mechanics that I don't even know. I don't know how to do not animate, but I don't know how to do the armor stands magic. I had no idea. Well, I'm going to do a little fun bit of my buddy Impulse teaching me how to do this. And it was actually a really funny bit because you came in and you were teaching me and I happened to find a way to, if you remember, this is so funny, dude. So not to bore the audience too much, but we take these armor stands and we move them around so that we can hold things on them and we make them invisible. I had zero idea how to do that magic. And there's so much magic on Hermitcraft. I'm unfamiliar with. And I kind of like the mystery of it and I like learning, but this was one of them. I'm like, I have no idea how to do this. So you came to teach me and you're all used to massaging the number so that it slowly goes up or down. Well, Skizz is in charge of it for 2 seconds and it's like, poof, and it just like launches into the air. And you're like, the way you deliver, I just want to know how you did that because it was like, yeah, you messed up. You screwed this up, but I don't even know how somebody screws it up this bad. Like
Only in a way Skizz can do.
I know, dude.
I feel like we're writing a children's book. If you give Skizz an armor stand mod, you know, did you ever see those books or read those books to your kids? If you give a mouse a cookie, and then you give them a cookie, and then they're gonna want milk, and then if they get milk, then they're gonna, you know, and it's this and then that and then that. Like that's what your story reminded me of. Like,
yeah, you taught me how to put sound effects to heads. And
why do I sound like a pirate?
Well, not only that, but I went nuts with it and I just coded your entire base and in your shopping stuff with,
the prank.
The prank. And, I like to just take whatever small thing. I mean, this is armor stands. I was able to have a whole bit of me and my buddy hanging out and you teaching me something and the teaching session going astray and it being funny. And I was able to put a bow on it by the end of the episode. I had mastered it and the trophy room looks great. You know what I mean? I was able to do that. So I'm like, literally, really? Like that, like 60% of my episode was armor stand. You know what I mean? But it was a good moment between you and I. So that was one of those moments I'm like, I don't know what to do. And I just found something and I just leaned all the way into it. And some are going to hit, some are going to miss. We have to be at peace with that. But I've also learned that sometimes the thing is not small. It could be really big and it can also still be a miss. You know what I mean? Yeah. You can go big and it still be a miss. So the size of it, the impact of it, the initial impact of it is not always indicative of as to whether or not it's going to be entertaining or enjoyable or memorable. It's just the moment. It's the moment, and I think that's why for me, the behind the scenes and the bloopers and behind the scenes was such a big deal because those are only moments and people love the moments. So that's become my thing, but it doesn't mean I don't run dry with ideas and it hurts.
Yeah. It can be pretty scary when your brain is just not, like I said before, brain not braining.
Brain not braining.
It's in this space. That's not something that we can afford.
No, you got to keep going. You got to keep going. And think of it this way, bro. This is another dynamic. We work in a field to where there are really two types of videos in our realm. There's sequential or storyline, if you will, and there's evergreens. And a sequential or a storyline is something to where this came out and it's a continuation of what you saw a week or two ago, or maybe a few days ago. And it's also the segue into what you're going to see in a few days or a week or two from now. And when the next one, because this one came out, you don't care at all about what just came out. And when the next one comes out, you don't care at all about what just came out. Like, that's just the way it is. Evergreens are something you can just watch over and over and over again. Like the Guess the Builds or the Build and Seek, stuff like that. Right. That's tough to navigate, because we're going into things knowing they're going to have an extraordinarily short shelf life. We go in knowing that the first like 90 to 95% of the views come within the first week of that release. And then anything after that is just some sort of residual trickle. It's crazy. But the other stuff, it's evergreen. It's always moving.
This podcast, evergreen, right?
Well,
should be.
But that's what we wanted. It's not. They're not evergreen. Some of them.
But we don't. From week to week, we don't really build off of last week.
They're not
like
sequential,
every episode is its own thing. Topic.
It is. However, I think because the audience is able to depend on the fact that it's not story based and there's always another one coming, that if you miss a Friday, whatever, I'll just catch next Fridays, and that's okay. You know what I mean? But I don't think that there's a lot of, I'm not suggesting nobody's ever watched one of our podcasts twice, but these aren't evergreens. Once you see it, you've seen it. You know what I mean? What are you going to watch it again for? They're not entertaining. You know what I mean? They're supposed to be, they're supposed
We're
to
not
be
entertaining.
Some, no, they're not. Dude, I edit these.
Are we boring?
They are really boring. No, I don't.
I'm going to lose sleep over this.
Listen to me. Oh, listen to me. And you lovely audience, you listen to. You make me so happy, audience, because I edit these and I'm just like, but I get it's self-critical. You know what I mean? I hate.
There's no bigger critic than ourselves.
Yeah, that's just the way it is.
Like, we've talked about like comments and stuff and how that's affected my mental health and stuff. And most of the time, it's the comments that echo my internal self-doubt.
Of course.
You know what I mean? That get under my skin.
Yeah.
And so that's where like that can be very, very challenging sometimes, because like living in that space and we're constantly in it, you're editing this every week and you're listening to us and watching us and it's like, oh man, you know, you're only looking for the things that are wrong with it, because that's our job is in a way is to like, how can we be better? You know what I mean? There's that constant pressure of improving, you know, and that's the way it's kind of ingrained in this culture of content creation is like, if you're not improving, you're dying. Yeah. You know what I mean? And
that's how it feels. That's how it feels.
Yeah. And it's kind of, it's part of the culture as well, I think. But it's tough. That's a tough space to be in. Like always being in a challenge with yourself to top what you just did is not very healthy, because that's impossible to always do better. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like than you did last time. It's just, you're not always going to hit a home run every time you go up to the plate.
Yeah. And I find myself that was the case for me for a long time. And it does feel sort of like you should always be improving. But I think, and this is how I operate now. I think we should always be striving to improve, but we need to not associate constant improvement with some sort of suggestion of failure. Mm-hmm. If one episode is not quite as good as the previous episode, I don't think that means that you're failing. I think that as long as you have in the foreground of your mind, always looking for opportunities to get better is okay. But to constantly expect yourself to get better every time is not okay, because that's
exhausting.
It's not going to meet. You're just not going to meet it. It's not going to happen. It's like you said, it's impossible. Yeah. You can't just keep getting better forever. You can sure try, and if you try, then chances are over time you are going to get better. Right? Whatever the craft is, you know what I mean. You are going to get better, but to expect that every single iteration needs to be better than the one before it is a very unrealistic expectation to put on yourself. And we're all guilty of it, especially in this field. Yeah. Especially in this field. Yeah. And it's hard, man.
Yeah. And you know, like as much as I would love to just have it ingrained in my soul about comparison being the thief of joy and like always keeping that on the forefront, it's like, it's almost impossible to not compare yourself. Yeah. Because that's what the viewers are doing. They're comparing you when they make their decision on who to watch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're comparing you to every other option they have. It's natural. So it feels like, you know, how could I not compare myself to those around, to my peers, the people I'm quote unquote competing against for their views, their attention.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard. It's hard not to do that.
So let's talk about that too. So now in this world, that's almost a version of always trying to not fit, but always trying to, it's a version of trying to stay relevant is really what it is. When you're trying to get a good bead on those whom you work with, or I don't want to use the word against, but whatever you want to call it, you're always trying to stay relevant. You're trying to stay as interesting, if not more than everybody around you. And my approach on this, in order to make sure I'm maintaining my own sanity, is I like to get inspiration from others. I like to see what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are or whatever, just because I never know what kind of door in my own mind it's going to open in regards to maybe I should explore that. Maybe I should explore that or whatever. But I can genuinely tell you that while I do watch others so I can get inspiration from what they're doing, I can genuinely tell you I am not comparing myself to others, because that will absolutely destroy me. I will destroy me, because it's not like it doesn't happen in little microbursts inside me. I can fly by Joel's base and then fly back to my cottage and be like, are you kidding me? How are we on the same server? You know what I mean? It makes no sense to me. How are we, what is happening? My cottage, I could literally hide it inside one of the buildings inside his base and he would never see it, because it's ridiculous. Like, it's crazy how good he is. But what a stupid path for me to go down. You know what I mean? That doesn't make any sense. I can look at what he built and get some sort of inspiration on what his approach may have been. And maybe I could leverage that as a skill if I want to grow my own skill or whatever. But I personally will never survive that battle if I'm just constantly comparing. I don't know. Do you feel like you're constantly comparing with others, or are you just, because I'm comparing with myself?
No, it's not constant, because I would be in the same boat. There's no way I could survive if I did that. I think, you know, having realizations of seeing what people are good at and allowing that to be okay. Yeah. Like, I know Joel's good at building, you know, but I'm good at this other thing I do. I'm good at making a game, you know, like you said, Metro Mayhem, whatever. I'm good at Redstone and stuff like that. Like, I have my own things that I can be proud of and be like, oh, it's okay if I'm not that level, you know, of that. And I think that's what makes, since we're on like the Hermitcraft subject at the moment, and that's what makes Hermitcraft great, is that we all have our things that we're good at individually, and they're different and unique amongst us. That way, when people are looking for somebody, they can just pick somebody that they vibe with, you know. Maybe it's because it's that person's doing something they wish they could do, or maybe it's because that person plays Minecraft the way they play Minecraft already, and that's what they're comfortable with. You know what I mean? Like, it gives people that choice, but at the same time, I can't help but be like, I wish I could build like B-dubs. You know what I mean? I wish how does he do those gradients? How does he do that texturing? How does he do that? You know, I wish I had that, you know, but at the end of the day, I got to realize, like, that might just not be my internal, like, skill set. You know what I mean? Like, I could work for it. Sure. Probably have to work way harder than he ever did. Although I'm sure B-Dubs worked really hard to get to where he's at. Not downplaying that at all, but I would probably have to just focus on that and nothing but that for a long time to get even close, because I might just not have the natural skill either. My brain doesn't brain that way, you know, and I could potentially have to surrender that. So I stopped doing that to that point to where I'm like, if I'm not as good as B-Dubs, I'm a failure. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's a really bad way to go about it. Otherwise, I would have quit YouTube a long time ago.
So let's unpack this a little bit. So first of all, what I want to do is I want to go back to Metro Mayhem. Okay. Now, it sounds like we're being Hermitcraft centric, but I'm not necessarily trying to be. This is right now what we're talking about is just the dynamic of improvement in this field, because I do stand by, while judging every iteration is unwise, there is something to be said for always striving to be better. And I think that's what keeps us relevant. Not you and me. I'm saying people in this field. That's what keeps us relevant, is striving to continuously get better. So now let's look at Metro Mayhem. Now, if anybody is unfamiliar with Metro Mayhem, I'm going to explain it because it works in this metaphor. Metro Mayhem is a race that you made on the Hermitcraft server. It's underground, and without going into too much detail, it's a beautiful race. It's very thought out to the point to where when people are in the beginning, because I was one of the first people to kind of lean into it, people who were joining it for the first time, I would tell them, don't even race right away. Just enjoy it. Just walk through it. It's like a museum because there's so much detail. It was so cool. It was so much fun. My first race took me probably about 45 minutes because I was just walking by, I just was looking at every single statue, every single nook and cranny, everything that was thought out. I was just brilliant, man. And I enjoyed it so much. Right. But now it's time to race. And this race, and the way it's measured is once you start, then it starts putting gold nuggets into a chest. And when you're done, it stops and you can count them up and see how good your score was. Okay. Well, the goal is to get faster. It's a race. Getting faster is that race's version of getting better, right? Mm-hmm. And comparing ourselves with others was not a terrible idea because you got to learn on what is it? What shortcuts have you found? What techniques have you found? We can work together, and people have been so good, and that's all well and good. But here's the deal. I wanted my time to get faster overall. My very first legit run was the whole chest. It was as slow as you can get it. My next one was not the whole chest, meaning I didn't fill the whole chest, which means I got significantly faster. My next one was significantly faster than that one. My next one was slower than the one I had just done. So did I fail? No. I'm on a quest here. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I'm on a quest. I can't make it so that my success indicator as to whether or not I'm doing the right thing is every single race is faster than the one before it. Yeah. That's not realistic, but I can keep going and I can keep trying and I can fail. Another PR, a personal record. Fail, another PR. You know what I mean? Like, so the trend data, the arc, if you will, is indicative that this is a person who's trying to get faster at this race. In the world that we work in, as long as we are evolving over time, then that's indicative of a person that has the capacity to stay relevant. Mm-hmm. Compare who you are as a performer today to who you were several years ago. I can't even watch my old videos, dude.
Some good stuff back then.
There's no good stuff. That's what it feels like.
Who's the man with the plan? Skizz, man.
But that was like a complete, like on the spot, ridiculous flash in the pan nonsense. But if I go back to, for example, my solo Skizz snapshot series that I used to do before I was on Hermitcraft, there's some gold in there. There's some gold in there. And you can see parts of me that I carried to today that still work. Like the rapid quick double F5 to look at the camera real quick. Like I'm not the only one who does that, but that became a staple early on for me, right? You can see that today. You can see some of the cadence back then and today, but I've honed it. I've gotten better at it, right? You can see some of the inflection in my voice and what it was then and what it is now. I've been finding my voice. Mm-hmm. I've been on this arc. And in the process of doing that, I've had several videos be colossally worse than the one before them. But that's what this journey is. Yeah. Because I want to continue to stay interesting. And I came into Hermitcraft where I tell my people, I'm the village idiot. I mean, that's my role. Apparently I'm the village. I can't not do what these people do, but that's okay because I have something that a lot of hermits don't have. And I have a different dynamic that I'm able to bring that is unique, and that's nice. Right. But do I just lean all the way into that one dynamic and try to just be that guy? That's not good enough because people like an arc. So my redstone got a lot better this season. My building actually got better this season. Mm-hmm. And why? Because I went and got that inspiration. I worked with Jem. Jem taught me about gradients. I knew what the definition of a gradient was. That doesn't mean anything. I didn't know how to actually go out and find it. She literally, just for the record, you guys, to really peel back the onion now, Jem helped me decide every single block of the pyramid. That's on the outside. That's on the outside, right? There's just that gradient. She helped me pick every single block. And then I was able to take it and do it. And she gave me a lot of accolades. She's like, this is a really good grade, like the way you put it together, right? And she liked the way I put it together, but she helped me decide every block. I would not have been able to do what she did. And she helped teach me in that. When I run Metro Mayhem and I go through the part with the wind charges over the soul sand and the, I am channeling Jem every time because she taught me how to do those types of jumps because of Cub's circular thing. Right. Like I'm finding myself doing the wiggle that she talks about and finding myself like finding certain times to take my finger off of sprint for just a fraction of a second. You know what I mean? Just stuff like that. Like I'm finding this finesse that I got from Jem. You know what I mean? She inspired me to be better and she inspired me to find a different, more relevant. I kept myself interesting. That was the whole thing. So now when Skizz is doing any sort of parkour thing, which is something I'm still to this day, for the record, very bad at, but my version of parkour now compared to my version of parkour a year ago is they're not even in the same ballpark. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's still a joke compared to everybody else, but the old version of me is a joke compared to what it is today. Yeah. So I think that's interesting. That keeps us relevant.
I think it's always healthy to compare yourself to yourself for improvement. Like if you can get 1% better every day. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy when you actually map out what that looks like from an arc standpoint. 1% doesn't sound like much. And day after day, it's not going to feel like much, but after 100 days. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. 100% better. You know what I mean? So I think that's important, but there's a lot of mechanisms in place in this world that make it feel like it's not okay. Like the scale YouTube uses. We've talked about it before. Every time you publish a video, I think it used to just be a half an hour and I think now it's an hour. They might've changed it. So and then after an hour after you publish your video, you can go and you can look, how is this video performing compared to my last 9 videos, the other 9 videos that came before it. So 10 total to compare, the one you just did, and then the 9 before that. And then it's looking at, okay, in the last hour, in the first hour of publish, if you look at it right at the hour mark, you got this many views on that each video, and it ranks it and it tells you where you're at. So if you see 10 out of 10, typically our language is, man, that's a 10 out of 10. Yeah. It is a good thing. Not in this measurement, right? 10 out of 10 means it's your worst performing video out of your last 10 videos. Yeah. And those kind of things can just like really kill whatever morale you have, especially if you felt it was a banger. Like, you know what I mean? Because like there are times when I've uploaded a video and I'm just like, this is not my best work. And then you question, why am I even uploading it then? You know what I mean? Yeah. And then all the other stuff comes into play. Oh, because I got to keep a cadence to my uploads or else people are going to forget about me and find someone else to watch. And the YouTube treadmill thing is a whole nother ball of wax. Yeah. And so it happens though sometimes when you're like, best video I've done in months, 10 out of 10. And it's like, well, I don't want to do this anymore. Yeah. It can really just take the wind out of your sail and just completely deflate you and your confidence. And that's when like I can get into these like these thoughts of like, do I even belong here? That imposter syndrome sneaks up out of nowhere. I've been fine, but suddenly I'm releasing videos and they're all 10 out of 10s. I must be doing something wrong. People don't like me anymore. I must have turned the wrong corner. Yeah. Thought I needed to improve this. And I tried to make a change to make my videos better and maybe it backfired. You start questioning every thought you have about what we're doing and it can really send you into a dark hole. And I think we've seen a lot of YouTubers burn out and quit because of that feeling of like, getting told you're not good enough, basically. And it's right there in front of you. In fact, they'll put messages. Less of your subscribers are choosing to watch this piece of crap. Yeah. That's the language I don't know why they have to do the dig.
I know,
they could leave out the piece of crap part. I don't understand this a little much.
Mine says just stop and go back to a desk job. That's what YouTube says
you
to me.
You thought you were going to be a YouTuber.
Yeah.
Turns out you're not cut out for this.
Yeah, YouTube says, don't you know you're too old and
whoever
dumb
made
to be
those
doing
messages,
this?
man, they got
That's how it feels when it says less viewers are interested.
Obviously, we're being a bit facetious there, but they do feel like they read that way sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll say like less viewers are showing interest in this video, like it's common. But it doesn't feel good, man.
No.
Like it can, especially because like we said in the beginning, what people see is the tip of the iceberg. And if you know the comparison to icebergs, most of it's underwater. You don't know it's there. And that's how it is in video production. Yep. And so if you're seeing the tip and that's it, a video that's 30 minutes long most likely took us hours, many hours. And, especially like Hermitcraft, I think I've talked about it before. My average Hermitcraft episode takes me about 20 hours to make a 30-minute episode. And so when those kind of things, when you put that much time into something and especially if you think it's good and then it bombs, it can be so demoralizing.
Yeah.
And that's rough.
Because when you think there's almost peace when you think it's going to do poorly and it does poorly. Because you're like, yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I expected. I like you said, it wasn't my best work. But when you think it's going to be good and it does poorly, we never, even though we're smart enough to know not everything is in our control. There could have been a world event that kind of overshadowed this, from a YouTube standpoint. Could have been the timing that this happened. Who knows, right? But it doesn't matter to us because when we like what we made and it does poorly, I'm using air quotes here, then we convince ourselves maybe I'm not cut out for this, not because it did poorly, but because I clearly don't know what good is. Yeah. Right? We start to like I really thought this was going to be good, and I'm apparently wrong. Yeah. But that's where that really. But then you look, and it's like it's the same story every time. Nobody's watching it, but those who are watching it are loving it, which means less people are getting it. It's getting pushed to them. So this is another aspect that's completely out of our control, which is another dynamic of this content creation world that's worth diving into. The stuff out of our control, completely out of control. And we got to pivot. We talked about it. We touched on it from a technical standpoint, but we gotta
sometimes stuff just happens.
Yes.
Sometimes your cameras just make you orange.
Yeah, sometimes they make you orange. I used to do a series called Story Time with Skizz. And that was a while ago. It was
amazing.
And people liked it. They was really, it was well received. They liked, because storytelling is one of my things. And I enjoyed making them, right? But here's the deal. That was a one-man show. And I didn't have the best equipment. I didn't have, I was using subpar equipment, but I would set up a microphone and I would do it, and I would do the best of my abilities. And I would do my thing, and it would not always turn out great. And oh my gosh, I acted that whole thing out, and I got all the footage off the camera and got it onto the PC just to realize it was out of frame or whatever. Okay, you know what? I'm going to spend some money, get some proper audio. I'll get a clip mic. No, I'm going to get a boom mic. I get a boom mic. It sounds terrible. I guess I'll get a lapel. I get a lapel and it's just rubbing on my shirt. I'm like, okay, I got to get a different shirt. Come on, you're smarter than this. I do the whole thing to where I actually put it on. I do a sound check. I bring it off the camera, put it on the computer, test it. Okay, I guess that sounds good. I go to do it, film the whole thing, bring it to the computer, and there's like this bzzz. I'm like, why am I getting this interference? I acted the whole thing out. I had a story. My very final Story Time with Skizz was one that I ended up taking off of YouTube because I hated it so much. And that was, I had done 5 takes of that, and trying to conjure up that energy it's an over the top energy, but conjuring it up 5 times to only be thwarted by technical stuff over and over and over again was killing my soul. It was just killing my soul. And I'm like, this sucks. I was getting so upset. And I'm not saying I'm never going to do it again. I'm saying that was the final straw for me. You know what I mean? Because it was just the technical things that were, I would say, out of my control. And sometimes they are, but those probably should have been in my control, but I just didn't have the acumen to round off the technology.
Even if you have the acumen, it can still happen.
It can still happen.
Case in point, we had one of the smartest people when it comes to tech, when it comes to content creation tech, one of the smartest people we know. His name is Evan. He's part of a 2-person show, story. Evan and Caitlin, who have been on the podcast before, and they're incredible people and good friends of ours. And Evan is a geek when it comes to this kind of tech, and I love it because him and we get along well in this space. He helped us with the podcast that we put on in San Diego for the last TwitchCon, and he had wireless microphones and stuff that he had brought, which was great because we had way more people than we anticipated.
Yep.
And so he helped out. He brought in equipment and he taught me how to use my own stuff. Like he's like, you got to turn on this 30-bit float, I think it's called. I didn't even know what it was.
Yeah.
And he's telling me about it and teaching me about it. And it was great. Turns out the microphone that he gave you, it had some sort of glitch. Again, wasn't his fault. He knows what he's doing.
Right.
Wasn't his fault. Never happened to him before. Just happened to happen that day. And we almost scrapped that podcast because of it.
Yeah.
Because it was just happened to be the mic you were holding, and you were like the main talker, the main host of that show.
Yeah.
And so, but we ended up just rolling with it. Bad audio and all.
Using my audio that came
picked up
through
from the
other
camera
people's mics.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Or no, from other people's mics, I believe. Yes, other people's mics. But I was, and Evan, and because he's such a professional, and albeit he's a perfectionist, like I to this day I still don't understand how him and Caitlin do what they do. It's unbelievable how good they are. At
their production is it takes more than this.
Not even just the production,
big time.
The things they do, the things they make, like the DIYs are just unbelievable. And I was like, oh my God. And he's also like the nicest guy in the world. I'm like, this is going to destroy him. And but I have to reach out to him because we were hoping that I did something wrong in the downloading of it. And there was a trick he had up his sleeve. And so he was really hard on himself on them. Like, Evan, it's fine. I promise you this is okay. And I was like, these things happen. And he's just such a nice guy. And you weren't ready to scrap it. I was ready to scrap it. And you and Tango talked me off a ledge because I'm like, guys, the audio, it's not kind of bad. It's like I'm literally holding nothing. I'm coming through the residual of other people's mics and it sounds awful. And you and Tango talked me off a ledge, and you guys were right to, because that people love the podcast. They like, for some reason, I'm grateful, but my goodness gracious, the audio was, and I'm not a perfectionist, you know that, but I am sometimes things are just that bad. You have to can them. That's how it felt to me. I was wrong. My bead was off. You know what I mean? But there you go. That was something 100% out of our control. It was just such a fluky, what the crap?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What is this? What is this? And you and I had one in the podcast. It was months ago, but I went to edit and I'm like, what is this buzz I'm hearing? You know what I mean? How can we do this many times in a row? This has never been a problem. And all of a sudden, what is this? What is this? And so I did as much as I could from a noise reduction standpoint. But at the end of the day, as well as anybody, post-production is something you don't want to do a whole lot of. You want as much authenticity as you can, because otherwise it becomes synthetic and it can mess with other dynamics. And we did our thing, and I'm like, we have to start testing what this is. So we started testing audio before we went live, and we realized if you have an audio cable draped over a power cable, it's picking up interference. Okay, well, now we know that now. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm glad we learned and got better, but one of our podcasts took a hit. You know what I mean? Because we didn't see that coming. So the question lies, what else do we not see coming?
Right.
What else is on its way? You know what I mean? And with our back up against the wall as it is right now, we're going to miss a Friday. It's going to happen. And
your internet is still bad.
And now the internet is completely...
So you're coming over again tonight?
Yeah. I'm coming to your house
after
I edit.
I won't be here.
You're right. Yeah. Tonight, exactly. I'm going to go home. I'm going to edit this podcast. Here's the way it's been. I typically, for a year since we've been doing this, I edit the podcast in the next few days, because we're always ahead by a week or two. Not the last few weeks, because life caught up.
I was going to say, people probably hear that and they're just like, well, why don't you just record 2 and get back on track? Yeah, we've been trying. For a month. We can't even find time to record 2.
Yeah. There's been no time to actually carve it out. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm enjoying very much this new chapter of your life with your daughter playing volleyball, because it's very akin to my daughter playing softball. It's keeping you busy, but it's also like it's also demonstrating that you got your priorities right. And I really like that, because you are there. You're there at every game. You're not missing it. And it warms my heart. And it's good to watch you do this because I got to do that. You know what I mean? With softball and watching you go through it. It's very exciting, but it also means you're going to have a lot less time. Yeah. And we talked about this the other day. If your daughter ever starts playing travel volleyball, that's going to be carving into your time at a level you can't even comprehend right now. You know what I mean? Like that's going to be a whole other, like, I don't even know how I got my regular work done back in the day when I was working at Intel. You know what I mean? I was traveling so much, you know what I mean? But I was working while I was always, no matter where I was at, I was working. So you're going to have to navigate those waters and you're going to do great. But this is a whole new thing to where, like you're saying, we've been trying to get our backs off the wall. Yeah. Can't do it. Cannot find the time.
Yeah.
That's what we're supposed to do.
We also like doing a lot of stuff though. You know what I mean?
Well, we do too much. Yeah.
Like that's me. I like doing a lot of stuff. I don't like saying no to anybody also, but I like being part of so much because I get such FOMO if I miss out on anything, right?
Yeah.
I would literally be in every single SMP, every single thing if I could. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I want to be in every one of Scott's hiding build and seek videos that he does. I want to be in every guess the build. I want to be in everything that anybody does. I want to be part of it. Can't be, but I do have Hermitcraft, my Redstone to Riches series, Past Life, and this podcast all going on right now.
Yeah.
4 series.
Yep.
In this week alone, 4 different videos came out.
Yeah. It's hard.
If you count Sunday.
Yeah.
But it's so yeah, we stay like super busy, and it's like, and then on top of that, like I said, I have obviously the family stuff and daughter doing volleyball and stuff. So it's a busy life.
We also stream like a minimum of 20 hours a week.
There's also streaming. I didn't even mention that.
Minimum of 20 hours a week.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like it's like, which is, I love streaming. This is why I love streaming, is because the whole, like, it's not like there's not a degree of what am I going to do today type thing, but with streaming, just really pick the game or pick the activity and just hit record and just go, or hit stream and go. You know what I mean? And so the biggest thing with streaming is just what game am I going to play, or trying to get a group of people to all agree on something on what we're going to end up doing. Right. But you have to, that's probably the biggest thing of it, but it's.
And your internet working also is a big part of it.
Yeah. My internet has been, you know what? Yes. My internet basically shutting down, if you will. I mean, long story short, so.
That's so super frustrating because streaming is a decent part of our
ability to feed my family.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's just been, my ISP has been, it's long story short, I'm on my 4th tech now. And it took the 4th one to be like, yeah, it's actually our stuff, not your stuff. Like, and it was like, that was a lot. I had to go through a lot for you guys to be able to, I literally have tested every single component. I know it's your stuff. I told you that from the beginning, but I understand your due diligence. You can't simply understand or just take me at my word. I understand that. But it took the 4th tech to be like, yeah, it's us. It's not you. And now they're putting in a huge work order to redo some big node for the neighborhood or whatever. But doesn't matter. They're going to do that. Good. Go do that. Go fix that. Please go do that. Do you know what you cost me? You know what I mean? Because I all your other clientele, they don't care if their email comes in 2 minutes later. Yeah. They don't even notice. You know what I mean? Like, that's not how this works. They don't, I have a different profession here. So that's another thing. You want to talk about out of your control, that people are probably like, well, why don't you switch to another ISP? Oh, I'm trying.
Yeah.
And as soon as it's ready, which is, I'm on the phone with the new company, as soon as it's ready, which should be in about 3.5 to 4 weeks, maybe 3 to 3.5 weeks from today, I'm going right to it. But as of this moment, I don't have another option. You know what I mean?
As soon as I had a second option, I had 2 internets.
Yeah.
Because that's how important it was.
Yeah.
Like, and people think that was absolutely crazy, and it kind of was. But you know, I realized, you know, there are certain things that if I cannot make that stream, that its cost is me missing that is cost me more than it would be to just pay for a second internet.
Yeah.
And so for a while it made sense. I have since, I'm back to just one now because one has proven 100% reliable. Shouldn't have said that.
You've had one downtime with your new one. One.
It was a
And it was
tiniest,
a blip.
it's like for a fraction of a second.
Yeah, which tells me, are you even sure it was your ISP? That could have been something on your side.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, it's important that we have the ability to do our job. Yeah. But when things are out of our control, like relying on an internet service provider, it can be the most frustrating thing in the world. Yeah. Because they're literally taking money away from you. Yeah. You know, you're losing money when you're not streaming. And
well,
that's
not only
stressful.
that, but I mean, like I went to, so my Life series episode, I knew I was going to be spending today editing this podcast. And I was like, I'm going to be bringing this podcast back over here to upload it, because typically it would take 15 minutes. It's taking 8 hours now because something's wrong with the ISP. I started my upload for my Life series episode, which is to come out Friday. I started it yesterday, knowing I just needed it to run all through the night.
You didn't want to just release it a day early again?
Okay, so there you go. There's another thing. That's another dynamic is you can still, at the end of the day, it can be out of your control, it can be in your control, but we're also going to make mistakes. Yeah. And in this field, mistakes are not welcome. And this is, and I don't just mean content creation, I'm talking about in the field of entertainment. So there was an episode of The Office, which I've never kept secret. It's one of my favorite shows of all time. And it was the weirdest, from a writing standpoint, I don't know how they landed on this, but one of the side stories was The Office was divided in regards. So basically Michael and Dwight were out of the office for the whole episode. They had their own storyline. The rest of the office was trying to decide whether or not they found Hilary Swank hot. Is Hilary Swank hot or not? This is the weirdest writing I've ever heard in my life. I don't know where that came from, right? But it was kind of a fun narrative because the office was divided. They all agreed that she's an attractive woman, but not all of them agreed that she was hot. It was just the stupidest thing ever, right? Well, Jim had to give he almost gave his deposition, if you will, right? And he said, sometimes I think that people view actors and actresses like mythical beings, right? And it was kind of a fourth wall breaking because that at its core, they're all actors and actresses. All of them are. So they're all in the public eye and they are all in the world of entertainment. And when you're in the world of entertainment, you're not real. Like it's weird. Like people forget. They forget. We're people. We're actually people. We have hates. We have loves. We have desires. We are fallible, very fallible, especially this guy.
Sometimes we crash out.
We crash out. Sometimes we release an episode a day early, which for obviously most people know what I'm talking about, but this Life series thing is a very delicate process. It's a great series that Grian birthed several seasons ago. We film every Monday and we release every Friday, right? And that's it. And then even on the Friday, there's a certain time on Friday that you can't go before, right? We all agreed on this. That's what we've been doing. We've been doing it for seasons. Third Life was the first season. And I remember being petrified I was going to release out of pocket. Somehow I was going to make that mistake because I'm human. We make mistakes. And I triple, quadruple checked everything every time. I never made the mistake in Third Life, never made it in Wildlife, which was the last one, never made it in Secret Life, all the other lives. Never made that mistake. In fact, nobody ever made that mistake. Like that never happened until somebody did. And that somebody was me. And it was 2 weeks ago. And that was like, I think that everybody has probably tried to understand what that felt like, but you're never going to know until you do that. Because what ended up happening was like, and I know how I made the mistake. To this day, I know exactly how I did it, but I made the mistake because we've had our backs up against the wall with the podcast. So I knew I was going to have to get my edit done way ahead of time. So I had the bandwidth to edit the podcast and get that uploaded. And I did get way ahead of it. And I always do this and I schedule them. It's what we do. We schedule it. Well, I went through the motions of typical schedule, which is I always finish the Life edit on Thursday and I always schedule it for the next day, but I had to get ahead of it. And I got ahead of it and I scheduled it for the next day being Thursday. And this is so crazy, dude, because the second it was brought to my attention, I wasn't like, no, I didn't. I was like, yes, I did. My mind was able to conjure up the synapses, the memory of, I know exactly that I made this mistake because I know exactly what I did. I did it for the next day, not for Friday. You know what I mean? And I'm like, and I just went through the motions because I was doing something else at the same time. And it's so funny how this actually came to be. I wear a Music Cozy, which is a sleep mask that's got built-in Bluetooth low profile speakers in it. And I was listening to my nature sounds that I like to listen to when I'm sleeping. And I was actually getting restful sleep because I was like, felt like I was on top of things. That's the irony. And then I hear this weird noise and I don't recognize, and it's basically Discord on my phone calling me. I'm like, who's calling me? And I look at my phone and it's a phone call from Smager. And I'm like, Smager's calling me. I wonder what he's calling me about. And I have no idea, but I didn't answer because I didn't want to talk like in bed with my wife sleeping. And I'm like, let me just go to Discord and look it up. And then I'd seen he's like, Skizz, it's Thursday, you released. And I just leapt out of bed, dude. Like, have you ever seen those videos, dude, of the cats where you put a cucumber behind the cat? And that's how I came out of bed. Boom. And my wife's like, what's going on? And I just ran out of bed and I ran right into my office and I just, boom, just unlisted it, right? And I just unlisted, I moved it to private like this. It had already been out for like almost an hour. And it was like 40 minutes or something. And I just, boom, like that, just private. And then after I did that, I opened up Discord and I saw a message from Graham that said, when you see this, don't take it down. Just leave it up. That's all it was. There was no angst. There was nothing like that. And then there was a message from Martin that said, Skizz, when you see this, just leave it up. And because I said, team, I straight and simple, I effed up. I don't have any excuses. I effed up. And then Martin said, put it back up. You're going to give your metrics and your viewers whiplash. And so everybody was super cool about it, but here's why it was so hard. I thought I had done everything right. And for several seasons and many, many episodes, I had indeed done everything right until I didn't. But the reason it's such a big deal here in this particular setting, why release a day early? Who cares? Oh, we care because I cannibalized a lot of views. And for the record, I'd like to see how much of an impact it actually made on other people's views, but it's also irrelevant. That was recklessly selfish. You know what I mean? Because what I typically get 50,000 views per video and I'm over 220,000 views or whatever it is on that one, right? Those are blood views. Like that's how I view them. These aren't like, I'm grateful for the growth. I guess I got exposed to a lot more people because I had like additional, like another 5,000 subs after that, which should feel good, but growth feels so good in this field, but it didn't this time. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So here's a scenario to where in this world, I really demonstrated that we are very much not mythical beings. We are very fallible. And that was a giant blunder. You know what I mean? For the record, the cast was so kind and almost too kind. Nobody gave me any crap, which was bothering me. Like, give it to me. Come on, give it. Just get it over with. You know what I mean? But nobody did. Everybody was super cool about it, especially Scar. He was just like, dude, it's fine. You know what I mean? Like this stuff happens, whatever. Everybody was super cool about it. And it didn't matter though, because I came out the other side beating myself up. You want to talk about self-doubt. That was, you know, the whole, like, maybe I don't belong here. Maybe I don't belong here. Mm-hmm. I didn't do that.
Imposter syndrome.
Yeah. I didn't say, maybe I don't belong here. I said, I don't belong here because that was not professional. That was and Green was cool about it. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm like, I don't belong. Like it's not, maybe I don't belong here. I don't belong here. Like that wasn't kind of mistake. That was as stupid as it gets, you know, but silver lining, good news. That will never happen again. And that is a good way to look at those types of mistakes.
You said that pretty confidently.
I did because unless YouTube decides to go and change what I've done, I went in and I uploaded yesterday because I got to get ahead of it. And obviously I was like on the YouTube calendar. I brought up a regular calendar. I said everything. Okay, we're going to on Friday at this time. There we go. And schedule. Okay, good. Close it all down. I'm going to open up YouTube again. Let me go back in. And I go back into it and I'm like, is it still scheduled? It's still scheduled for that time. Okay, close it. Go to leave. It's like you checking the cameras. I come back, open up YouTube again. Okay, still scheduled for Friday. And I'm still worried it's going to come out of pocket because something's going to freak out there. You know what I mean?
I hope you were so confident about it. I hope you're right. But going back to the whole, the buzz and the audio thing.
Yeah.
And realizing, now we check every time.
Yeah.
We're not checking every time anymore.
Yeah.
And in fact, there is a power cable laying on a microphone cable right there.
Okay.
So when you brought that up, I was like, look at how quick we learned. And then as time went by, it got looser with it.
Okay. Now hold on. I'm going to challenge that. Okay. I see how you're saying that I could go the other direction. The problem is this. The podcast having that slight buzz had literally no lashback. This here destroyed me. It almost ended my whole career. It almost ended everything for me. I almost quit because it was that bad. It was like the mistake itself was that impactful. That's why I'm like, it literally is never going to happen again. Right. For example, you and I have had another sort of not very well thought out execution on this podcast. Yeah. That was impactful enough that we said never again. And we made a change to where it will never happen again. See what I'm saying? That's the level I'm talking about. Yeah. Yeah.
And then we only had the orange faces once. So.
That's right.
That's a completely different thing anyway. But yeah. I mean, you hope that you learn from the mistakes and you get better and you continue to improve. Not everything is going to be a home run, but as long as we stay the course, try to get 1% better every day. And we will have setbacks. Everybody does. At the end of the journey, we're going to be higher than where we started.
Yeah, I agree. But you have to realize you and I have a leg up on most creators in the world, and that is that we have proximity. We have to each other. Yeah. We both do this job. We live 1,000 feet away. We've known each other forever. We can go on a daily or weekly walk and not just vent, but really bounce ideas off each other. Let's
be honest, a lot of it is venting, which is what we need for our mental health.
But a lot of it's venting. But the other day, I remember I came over to your house because I think, was that the day I had to cancel my stream because my internet was dropping out so much? Yeah. I was just like, I'm doing everything I can. And now I actually can't do my job anymore. And I was like, and this is going to sound pretty dark, but I was like, I'm all right, stream canceled. It's canceled. And I reached out to you. I'm like, I need to come over and get something anyways. And I'm like, I'm going to come hang out for a little bit. And you're like, come on over because I needed to be around a friendly face or whatever. But in the time from then to me getting over here, I did a lot of like meditation on the way and self-counseling on the way. And I realized this is not manageable if I allow moments like these, like the internet going down, to get me this much.
Yeah.
So I thought about it. And I was like, everything's going to be okay. I'm not terminal. You know what I mean? And then I thought about it more. I'm like, I hope I'm not. I haven't been to the doctor in a while, but if I was, even then everything's going to be okay because everybody dies. That's what I mean. I'm not trying to be dark, but I'm like, this is just, let's enjoy the ride, man.
Yeah.
Enjoy the ride. And so that really helped me because
Carpe
diem. That's right. Seize the day.
Seize the day.
And that's what I'm working on is just seizing the day. And I felt so in a way, honestly, my latest blunder with the live series and my ISP doing what it's been doing, these are two huge hits and I'm still standing. You know what I mean? So what am I freaking out about? Relax, dude. I'm just so afraid of just becoming a colossal failure in all this. And so no more.
There's
I don't
a lot of
wanna
pressure.
Be like that. Yeah.
There's a lot of pressure in what we're doing.
Yeah.
To stay relevant, to continue doing what we're doing, to keep making awesome stuff.
Yeah.
But I was asked recently because of all the things I'm doing if I was okay. And I was like, I'm very busy, but I'm okay. Like, because I'm having a good time. I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I'm enjoying being this busy. Mm-hmm. Like, there are times in your life when you get busy and it's stuff you don't enjoy. But when you enjoy it, like, I don't mind losing sleep. Waking up at 4 a.m. because I'm jazzed about what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, it could catch up, sure. And I'll probably have a couple bad recordings or maybe bad streams if it does. But like, I wouldn't trade it for the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like, I'm having a great time doing this podcast, making every series I'm in, every stream I do, playing ghost games or climbing a mountain with friends. It doesn't matter, this is a great journey that we're on. Yeah. And it's going to have its setbacks and we're going to have negative thoughts from time to time. But like you said, we're still standing. And carpe diem. Enjoy the ride.
Enjoy it.
Every day is a blessing.
Everyone. And some of you are actually considering this field. And it's so important to me that nothing about this podcast has changed your mind. If it's something that you want, you know what I mean? I don't want you to be like, man, it's a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. You can't, it is harder than you thought you were going to be, but it's also,
we're trying to be real here.
But it's also cooler than you can possibly imagine. Yeah. But I would encourage you, if it's something that you're interested in, go into it with as much, try to learn as much as you possibly can from the things that we talked about in regards to, you can only control so much, and just really worry about the arc and not every single step of the way, right? Just worry. Yeah. It's like climbing a mountain. Some steps are easier than others. Yeah. And just, think about that arc and think about that journey and make sure you're enjoying it, because I wouldn't change it for the world. Like you said.
Yeah. And exactly. Same here. Wouldn't change anything.
Yep.
And these times are going to happen,
They're going to happen.
You're going to bleep this. Shit happens. Okay. You don't have to bleep that.
I'll bleep it.
That's life. Live it though.
Live it and just make it happen. Pull the trigger. Give it a go.
Yeah. All right. That's all I think we have to talk about today.
Thanks, guys.